I mentioned them briefly. I explored the Olmec mystery in considerable depth. It's considered to be the earliest high culture of Central America. Everybody's heard about the Aztec.
A New Age quantum AI system, just decoded symbols carved by the Olmec 3,000 years ago, and researchers insist the public remain in the dark. Multiple sources have confirmed these leaked memos contain patterns that don't match any known human writing system. The symbols are encoding something that operates on principles we're only now becoming smart enough to recognize. What secrets did the Olmec hide in stone? Could these symbols unlock technology we've lost for thousands of years? Join us as we unveil the hidden language quantum AI just uncovered. The pattern that shouldn't be possible. Researchers have been in a controlled panic since the AI found a spiral symbol showing up at different Olmec sites. It sounded boring at first. Ancient people loved spirals. Everyone knows that. But then things got weird. The spiral looks exactly like the shape of DNA, but the Olmec couldn't have known about DNA. They lived from 1500 to 400 BCE. Watson and Crick didn't discover the double helix until 1953. That's a 2,400-year gap. The AI didn't stop at just looking at the shape. It tracked where this symbol appears across dozens of items from La Venta, San Lorenzo, and Tres Zapotes, which are major Olmec cities. And the results are patterns that shouldn't exist. The spiral shows up mostly in spots related to growth, crops, and what researchers carefully call farming family lines. It appears next to numbers. Measurements, tracking changes across what look like generations of plants. When we first saw the match, we thought the computer made a mistake, says one researcher who asked not to use their name. But the pattern kept showing up. The spiral appears with marks that track changes across generations, almost like they were writing down breeding programs for crops. Breeding programs give a better understanding of how traits pass from parent to child. One needs to watch which mixes give the best results, and data is collected over many generations. 3 separate sources with access to private online forums where experts talk have confirmed that the eye has found at least 47 times where this spiral symbol pairs with what look like harvest predictions. It gave specific details of amounts of corn, their growing cycles, and success rates. The AI system studying these patterns wasn't thrown together overnight. It mixes symbol-reading computer programs with language models trained on over 12,000 Mesoamerican designs and dig site records. Different from past tries at reading Olmec symbols, this doesn't try to turn them into spoken words. Instead, it finds connections between symbol groups and real things: star movements, farming cycles, and land features. The system looks for what scientists call structural matching, when patterns in one system line up with patterns in another. And it found something else. Another symbol set has writing experts questioning everything they thought they knew about ancient American building skills. A stepped triangle inside a circle. Clean lines. Perfect. Showing up a lot at certain spots around La Venta, the Olmec's biggest temple center. The AI built heat maps showing where this strange symbol pops up most often in Olmec artifacts. The pattern clusters near basalt quarries, where the Olmec carved massive stone blocks weighing up to 50 tons, and then somehow hauled them over 100 kilometers. That alone is wild history. Then the researchers zoomed in further, and things got unsettling. The symbol appears even more frequently near areas with intense underground heat, hot springs, volcanic zones, places where the Earth literally breathes steam. One sequence describes what the AI translated as a sun serpent that cracks open the Earth every 52 seasons. Everyone assumed this was just more ancient myth, sun gods, dramatic storytelling. Then someone ran the numbers. 52 seasons work out to roughly 13 years. Venus completes a repeating cycle every 584 days. 5 of those cycles equal 8 years. Combine them, and you get a repeating 13-year rhythm. That later became a cornerstone of the Maya long count calendar. The Olmec were already tracking Venus with serious accuracy, centuries earlier than anyone believed. Another symbol group lines up with solstices and lunar eclipses. When the eye compared it to actual sky data, the match came back 94.7%. These carvings look like observations, not prayers. There's also a coiled spiral that turns up across distant Olmec sites: San Lorenzo, La Venta, Laguna de los Cerros. It always appears with direction marks and what look like numerical tallies. Soil tests reveal those spots hold uncommon minerals like magnetite and iron oxide, as if the carvings marked resource hotspots. The plot thickens as more information changes everything we thought we knew. How much more don't we know? The coordinates are real and they lead somewhere hidden. There's one glyph that has researchers working under the kind of tight security usually reserved for royal tomb digs. They're calling it the gate symbol. It's unlike anything else from the Olmec world. A stepped frame enclosing curved sun arcs, the design repeated perfectly across carved pillars, polished jade figurines, and even fragments of old clay pots. The AI flagged it immediately. Every time this symbol appears, it sits beside what look like direction markers. Not random carvings, but coordinated navigation data. When researchers entered those coordinates into a mapping system calibrated for known Olmec sites, the program lit up with a surprise. Using the same kind of LiDAR technology that revealed lost Maya cities, the computer pinpointed a ridge formation that had somehow escaped documentation, hidden deep within the jungles of Tabasco State, about 37 kilometers east-southeast of La Venta. At first glance, the area looked ordinary, just a green, hilly area with nothing to suggest ancient builders. But LiDAR doesn't lie. The scans revealed geometric precision, straight alignments, platforms, and right-angled shapes invisible to the naked eye. Ground-penetrating radar confirmed what many suspected: massive buried structures running at least 15 meters beneath the current surface. "The chance of this being random is basically zero," said one of the researchers reviewing the scans. "The details in the glyph line up too neatly with what we're seeing underground." The AI's deeper analysis uncovered something even stranger. Embedded within the gate symbol are what appear to be seasonal and solar indicators, tiny marks that correspond to solstices and equinoxes. When those celestial markers were mapped against the Tabasco site's coordinates, a remarkable pattern appeared. The structures form a kind of solar calendar built from earth and stone. Field teams have just begun surveying the site, but the work is already covered in so much secrecy. Access is limited to a handful of specialists under confidentiality agreements, with guards posted around the perimeter. Why so much security for an ancient ruin? Because preliminary scans suggest the complex sprawls across nearly 12 hectares, roughly the size of 17 football fields. The layout rivals La Venta itself. Whoever built it didn't just construct it, they concealed it. The key to that concealment seems to be in the gate symbol itself, carved on 11 known artifacts scattered between museums in Mexico City, Villahermosa, and one piece in Yale's Peabody Museum. Since the discovery, curators have been examining again every item carrying the glyph. 3 new pieces have surfaced that pair the gate symbol with unique direction markers, possibly pointing to entirely different locations waiting beneath the soil. Dating tests on early excavation samples suggest the site was active between 1200 and 800 BCE, centuries before La Venta's peak. If those results hold up, this could represent the earliest monumental construction in Mesoamerica, forcing historians to redraw the timeline of Olmec civilization. Yet, it's what comes next that's raising eyebrows. What exactly is this AI reading that has top researchers so scared? What the AI is actually reading. At least one senior researcher from a major Mexico City lab has formally asked for a complete publication stop. All findings related to the Olmec symbol reading project. Full stop. The internal memo wasn't meant to go public, but sources gave us parts. We need time to check these readings through careful peer review. The effects are too big to rush this process. We are possibly dealing with information that could have far-reaching results beyond school talk, meaning they found something that scares them. The system connects specific glyph groups with land features across the Olmec heartland: rivers, mountain ranges, coastal zones, but also underground features, water table locations found through recent water surveys, mineral deposits identified through modern rock analysis. The Olmec symbols mark them accurately and consistently. One sequence describes what translates roughly as water that sleeps beneath stone. The symbol appears on an item found near Laguna de los Cerros. Modern ground radar found a big underground water source 40 meters below that exact location. This is not a coincidence, because the same phrase appears on 3 other items from different sites. Researchers checked. All 3 locations sit above confirmed water sources. Another symbol complex seems to track what might be farm productivity across different soil types. The AI found connections between specific glyph mixes and modern soil makeup analysis. Symbols tied to red earth always appear in areas where current analysis shows high iron oxide content. Symbols for dark earth match with regions showing high organic matter and char deposits, the same terra preta soils that would later be built by Amazon cultures. The Olmec were writing down soil chemistry, without microscopes, without chemical analysis tools, through careful watching and multi-generational knowledge building. They built an evidence-based science of farming that encoded exact environmental data into a standard symbol system. Things take an even stranger turn with one particular basalt pillar from San Lorenzo. It carries an incredibly complex cluster of glyphs, and the AI claims it isn't just one message. It's layered like a digital file hidden inside another. The first layer looks like astronomy, a Venus alignment marking a specific point in its cycle. The second layer seems to be land coordinates, pointing to a location roughly 63 kilometers northwest of San Lorenzo. Beneath that, the system picked up what appears to be a record of resources, maybe counts of materials or planned building supplies. The fourth layer contains time markers tied to seasonal changes, hinting at when certain activities should take place. All that information inside just 30 symbols. The density rivals early Mesopotamian writing, but this appears centuries earlier. One researcher said the discovery forces everyone to rethink how the Olmec shared complex knowledge. Current theories simply don't match what the AI is uncovering. So far, about 340 distinct glyph elements have been identified, more than some recognized writing systems. They don't seem to represent spoken sounds. Instead, they show connections, patterns, and cause and effect relationships. Some sequences look like math, adding and subtracting, maybe even ratios. A carving from Laventa has already been translated loosely as 3 measures of seed make 7 of grain when water arrives under the new moon. That's practical farming data, not a religious chant. Privately, senior researchers admit they're nervous. One leaked message bluntly warned, "We're not ready for what this means." If the Olmec created a shared scientific notation system used across 18,000 square kilometers, it rewrites the timeline of how complex society in Mesoamerica began. So, if this is real, why haven't brilliant minds cracked it before now? The Cascajal block. Everything hinges on one artifact, a single carved stone discovered in 2000 in Veracruz, the Cascajal block. It's a smooth green slab etched with 62 distinct symbols arranged neatly in rows. Tests place it around 900 BCE, possibly making it the earliest writing in the Americas. News outlets treated it like the Mesoamerican Rosetta Stone. Scholars believed clear reading would follow within a few years. 19 years later, the stone still keeps its secrets. Experts see structure in the layout. Designs repeat. The organization feels too deliberate to be decoration, yet no one can claim to truly read any of it. Decoding a lost script usually requires something to hook onto, a bilingual text, for example, or a large enough collection that repeating patterns start revealing grammar and meaning. The Cascajal block offers neither. Only one other item, a small stone from Chiapas found a year earlier, shares a few visual similarities. 2 artifacts don't form a library, they form a puzzle. Scholars remain divided. Some argue these marks qualify as full writing capable of recording spoken language. Others think they represent a kind of shorthand used for limited notation. Everyone agrees the symbols bear almost no resemblance to later systems in the region. Maya writing looks totally different, as do Zapotec and Isthmian scripts. So either the Olmec created a unique writing system that died out, or they built the earliest ancestor of later scripts, and those descendants evolved beyond recognition. That uncertainty fuels excitement and frustration in equal measure. Recent digital tools add to the intrigue. Software has resurrected text from carbonized scrolls and reconstructed smashed clay tablets from the ancient Near East. These successes have inspired hope that technology might finally crack the Cascajal code. There's a catch. Those achievements depended on huge libraries of known writing. Greek papyrus deciphers well because researchers have thousands of Greek documents to train the software. Cuneiform becomes readable thanks to entire museum drawers filled with wedge-shaped tablets. Olmec symbols exist on roughly 3,200 objects, most with only a few marks. That's barely a whisper in comparison. There's no known language to tie the symbols to, no grammar hints, and no translations. Any digital interpretation right now leans on comparisons, patterns, and guesswork, rather than direct reading. Still, there's value in patterns. Researchers have shifted from trying to match symbols to spoken words. Instead, they study where the markings appear and what those locations reveal. If a symbol is consistently found near ancient springs or wells, the symbol might relate to groundwater. That doesn't reveal a literal meaning, yet it points toward function. This line of thought changes everything. Maybe the Olmec weren't documenting speech. Maybe they built a system for tracking relationships between things in their world, less of a written language and more of a scientific notation. The Maya and others who came later focused on politics, rulers, and events. The Olmec might have recorded something much more practical. The mystery remains whether their knowledge slipped away or still lies hidden beneath symbols we are only beginning to understand. All of this knowledge seems priceless. Who decides what happens next? Who owns this ancient knowledge? The thrill of discovery hides a thorny question that scientists can't dodge anymore. If an AI cracks the meaning of ancient symbols, who gets to claim that knowledge? This project didn't sprout inside a single university lab. It exists because researchers from Universidad Veracruzana joined forces with a private tech company in California, which supplied the powerful hardware and proprietary software that made the decoding push possible. The legal mess here feels unprecedented. 3 millennia of indigenous wisdom tangled with cutting-edge technology no one outside a handful of engineers understands. Our laws never imagined this kind of collision. One international law expert watching from afar admitted that heritage rights, excavation rules, and corporate ownership now sit inside the same pressure cooker. The potential payoff is impossible to ignore. Those carved symbols could hold a library of agricultural genius, drought survival strategies, tropical crop rotations perfected over centuries, pest management without chemicals, land stewardship that protects soil like a living relative. In a world desperate for sustainable farming, this isn't just valuable, it's a goldmine. Word has already spread. Big agriculture players aren't waiting for journal publications. They're sniffing around through private channels, hoping for early access to whatever secrets get unlocked. Researchers quietly admit there's a huge financial weight behind this deciphering effort. Yet the writing appears in religious contexts too. Some glyphs might guard ceremonial knowledge still deeply protected by indigenous descendants. Sacred practices recorded by ancestors weren't meant for corporate slide decks. Activists are raising alarms. These aren't abandoned ruins or forgotten people. Communities alive today consider this information part of their identity, their history, their right. Mexico's cultural protection laws cover artifacts carved in stone or shaped from clay. They don't clearly cover digital reconstructions of cultural memory processed through corporate-owned algorithms. If the AI identifies medicinal recipes, who holds the rights? The state, the scientists, the tech company, the The descendants of the Olmec? Everyone? No one? Pharmaceutical firms could try to patent compounds described in those symbols. Agribusiness might claim exclusive rights to farming systems that indigenous groups once used freely. Tension has already shaken the research team. Leaked notes mention meetings where commercial proposals made some members uneasy. A couple of scientists have left the project entirely, afraid the work might turn into exploitation instead of scholarship. Meanwhile, the AI keeps translating. The gate symbol already led to a hidden archaeological site. More may be encoded, possibly dozens. Whoever controls the data could control the access. Indigenous organizations are demanding a seat at the table. Approval before publication, co-ownership of findings tied to ancestral land, veto power over commercial use, and fair benefits if profits emerge. Promises to publish everything openly sound noble until patents, government claims, and corporate interests start crowding in. The Olmec carved their ideas into stone without knowing the future would pry them open with neural networks and shareholder ambitions. Their voices are rising again across thousands of years. We can finally hear them. The hard part is deciding who gets to listen. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out another interesting video by clicking on the link shown on your screen. See you on the other side.